Oh, this place is a mess. That's how you know you've been doing some work. All right, man. So, sorry for the fisheye, but it's a new phone, and this allows me to not, actually fit in the garage and take some video. So here's the deal. Am I stalled out? No, we're still kind of moving forward. It's not a question of like not finishing the project or anything. That's not a question. Is it an engine swap? Are there little things that jump up? Like every time you do a new assembly or, put the accessories in and find out that the air conditioning pump fittings are right up against here, the frame, and I can't box it because it's where the subframe actually mounts to the car for the engine. And that's an engine swap. That's just the way it goes. But there's a lot of stuff like buying an entire assembly drive for your car, and then because of that AC thing, you got to box it all back up and send it back. So that's the type of stuff I'm facing. I'm still trying to figure out what to do with the oil pan. Let me give you guys an idea. Mind you, this oil pan has already been milled down to about 2.5 inches. So it used to be a big whale belly. But right now, yeah, that's a hole. Because that's the only way the engine fits in the car. So the problem is that with the LT engines, the Gen 5, you can see there's no space between the timing cover and the crank pulley balancer. This actually goes inside it a little bit. You have to pull the balancer off to get the oil pan off. Any LS, even the dry sump LS7s, there's room in here. So you can put a sprocket, a gear to drive an external dry sump pump, which would mount over here in a kit, and you just drive it right off here. Well, we can't do that. And the problem with making, since this is already a factory dry sump engine, is that there's two stages of oil pump in here. There's the normal oil pump, but then there's also the pressure side that moves it out to the tank and back. So it's thicker through here. But the problem is that all that tubing and in and out and all that happens right in here. And if I'm building, we were thinking about building, an ISR style, sump box that would fit in here. But the problem is that like you don't have enough room for baffling and an oil pickup tube and a pressure and vacuum, scavenge tube. So it's a dry sump engine, but we're gonna have to pull the oil pump out and use an external dry sump, which I'm actually gonna have to mount over here. Been talking with Peterson about it. But then we have to run it all the way out here and run it off the crank pulley. And then I'm looking at the 9% lower crank pulley that we've got here from DSX. And, it centers itself using countersunk bolts. So I'm kind of curious how this centers itself if we sandwich something else. I don't know if we're going to have to I think I'm probably going to have to make countersunk spacers, or countersunk washers that another bolt goes straight through. So whatever, but it's stuff like that, like nothing simple and easy. But we'll keep going. I've got some FDF upper arms, but these are the stock width. I should have some new ones that will land here in the next couple of days. So says Josiah. The body on them here was actually made longer for me. So we polished the uprights. They've been polished and clear coated. Polished and clear powdered. Got a new a rebuild on the rack. I got these lines from Kegel, but the problem is, no problems with his lines. It's just the problem was the fitting used to be right here, right in the middle of the pan, sticking straight up. Well, obviously we had oil pan clearance issues. So I brought this over. My buddy Larry from Fodrell Off-Roading actually took the whole rack apart, moved this down and welded it. But now I'm trying to find somebody in town to make me a proper line, because obviously you can't bend and swivel these things. It's already jacked up and coming apart. So I've got to find somebody to make this new fitting or a new line for me with a banjo to AN for the steering rack. Then, because the air conditioner is going to end up in here. Alternator ends up way over here because the water pump is over here on an LT4. This is the only spot we've got to try to figure out it's the only spot we've got to figure out custom mounting to hold a 4-stage dry sump, external pump right here. Is it going to get close to the sway bar? Heck yes, bro. Nothing's easy, dude, but it is what it is. If I have to, I can, we can make spacers for this and drop the sway bar down a touch. Obviously, we've got a bit of room to move here, and it should never move too much. But the other problem is that any end link that's out there, I mean, they're fairly large too. To span between here, even with them adjusted all the way down, it still puts, even when the car's jacked up and with suspension droop, it still puts this guy up pretty far. So I don't know if I'm going to need to make some sort of like special, like super shorty links. And we're going to have to spacer them out, but who knows? We'll figure it out. But this is the LOJ mount kit. LOJ, there they are. These are for the Gen 5. And this is with it mounted, the engine mounted. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I'm a dipshit. This engine is crooked in here. I have them mounted. Oh, no. Yeah, that's funny. I need to go back and fix this. Obviously, it's nowhere near a permanent install. This engine comes in and out, but I've got this side mounted all the way towards the front of the bolts. And I'm pretty sure I had the other side mounted all the way to the back. Sweet. Let's just verify. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, way to make your engine crooked. All right, well, I'll pull that out and fix that the next time it comes out. So we do have ample room for these chunky boy headers. Yee. Those are from LOJ. He has Kooks make those for him too. Yeah, of course this is slightly crooked. Now I can kind of tell. Anyways, that's where that's at. In terms of the interior, bro, I'm just waiting for Todd, man. He gave me a sweet deal, so I know that beggars can't be choosers, but we're definitely overdue on getting all the interior panels back. Dash, kick panels, every piece of trim in this whole car came out for name brand black Alcantara. Yeah, that's that. So that's pretty much where my life is at right now, man. It's a lot of stuff to take care of. It's not a question of just throwing money at it, because the stuff I need built, like, it's hard finding anybody that actually wants to do the work. So if the dry sump thing works, then Moroso will make me an oil pan, because then it's just flat. Hopefully that's not an issue. But we're talking just to put an oil pan on this car, which if I could just use the factory system and I had an oil pan that fit, like, that would be it. Most people spend a couple $100, maybe $1,200 on a swap oil pan. Nah, dude, I'm either gonna have to have somebody like CNC me a custom oil pan to fit the factory system, and that's gonna be like several $1,000s, or I can take that several $1,000s and do a true external dry sump, which is obviously better than this factory one. But then that brings on its own nightmares. So, like, for simplicity's sake, do I just pay somebody to build a pan and then this engine's fine? I don't know, man. But it ain't easy. But I keep pushing on. There's your update. Help your boy.